So in class, we discussed at length um, variables and we discussed data types. And then we said that there was a question you were supposed to go home and try. In a local stadium in Accra, there are three seating categories for a football match. The seats prices for each seat category are seat A, seat B, seat C, and then here we have their prices. You are asked to write a program that will ask the user how many tickets for each class seats are sold during the match and calculate and display the income generated. So for a program like this, the first thing you must do is you must first of all find what the problem is. You must define the problem. And in defining the problem, it tells you what do you want to do. You see, the whole code is meant for you to tell us what do you want to do? What do you want to do at the end of the day? What is the achievement of the code? What is the purpose of the code? The purpose of the code is to display the income generated. So a program to display the income generated. Full stop. This statement is very important because at the end of the day, if whatever code you have written does not display the income generated, then you haven't done anything. That means at the end of the day, our program is supposed to display the income generated. Now, once you know the problem, then there are certain questions that come in. How do I generate the income for the stadium? And to do that, I would need to know what my input variables are and what my display variables are or my output variables are. So these are the variables that will help me to achieve my aim of generating the income. Now let's come to the question. The question says that the ticket sales is this, that, and that. So I know how much each ticket price is. Okay. But how many tickets were sold? I don't know. The question even tells you as a hint. Ask the user how many tickets for each seat of the categories were sold because you do not know the number of tickets that were sold. If, for example, the number of tickets that were sold for seat A is, let's say, 10, then it means 10 times 150 would give me 1500, and this is the total number of tickets I have sold for seat A. So if I know that monetarily how many tickets I sold and I add them together, then I can get the income. So I need to bring into my application seat A, seat B, and seat C seats. Very important. Now, at the end of the day, what do I get as my output? Where do I save all my code? I would save it into a variable I'll call income. So, how do I collect this information from the user and get here as income? I will get there by saying that the processes I will do, the calculations I will do, the formulas I will do, that is income is equal to seat A plus seat B plus seat C. But this will give me the total number of tickets I have sold. So there's something missing in this equation, and that is the amount of tickets I sold in seat A times the amount of tickets I sold in seat B, which is what? This. And then times the amount of ticketing which I sold in seat C. Remember, this is being multiplied together as 1, and whatever I get would multiply this together too. And whatever I'll get would multiply this together too. This is wonderful. So now, before I even write my code, I know that this is the information I need to bring into my code. This is the information in which I would store and display. But for me to get here, I would need to do this. So now I can write my code. I would go and open up a new folder in my computer. I'll call it income. And then once I call it income, I would open it up. I would run it in VS Code. And then in here, I would write the code for my application. I'll click here. I'll go and type main.c. Remember, very important. The .c makes it a C application because our course is in C. In here, let me make this big enough. And then in here, I'll start writing my code. I'll write my preprocessor directive, which is include stdio.h. I'll continue writing my code by writing my main function, which is int main that. I'll continue my code by defining my variables. Now, some of you have sent me code. Some of you have sent me code today, and you realize that the code you sent me, you are declaring variables anywhere in your code. Everywhere you can declare them, don't do that. It's good to segment your code so that if there is a problem, you know in which section you need to go to. So all the variables I will use will be declared here. Number of seats, I count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll use an integer for seat A, seat B, and seat C. I will add them up and put them together. And if I am adding them up, I'm multiplying them with money. Hence, I would use a double. And I would say this should be, or let me use a float since it's not that big. So I'll use a float, which would be equal to income. Now, over here, I told you these are going to be our input variables. If someone tells you to input something, there are two things you have to do. Number one, you need to ask. Number two, you need to receive. If I was to write my program this way and say scanf, because scanf is used to bring information into our application. So scanf, and then I'll put in the percentage sign D here because I'm bringing in an integer. And here I'll bring my end symbol and then I'll type in seed A. So the computer knows I'm bringing in seed A. And I run this application here. So it will compile, everything is good. But when I come here onto my screen, the cursor is blinking. It is blinking. Everything is fine. If I put in 12 there, it will take it. But why am I putting 12 there? Why don't I put in Kim there or Tom there? So whenever someone tells you input something, technically what they are telling you is you must present the thing in a way where someone will bring in a value, and when they bring in the value, then you must take it. So you are doing two things. So I don't just run my program by saying scanf A. I must tell the person that please enter tickets for seat A with a semicolon here. So in this case, the person knows that he is entering tickets for seat A. Some of you who sent me the work, you realized you did a format where you tell the person to enter all the variables, so he enters A, B, C in that order. Sometimes it is good to take it in chunks so that you can control what the user is doing at every point in time. So here I'm going for seat B. I'm going again for seat C. Now I can tell the user at this point that income is equal to the ticket prices for seat A, in which we did over here, B, and C. Remember, every statement ends with a semicolon. Then I can say print F income is however you want to put it. And here I'll put the percentage sign. Um, I'm dealing with a float, so it's percentage sign F. And then in here, I can bring a comma and write income here so that this piece of F here is a placeholder telling the computer that at this point in time, something will come there, and the thing which will come there would be of data type float. So this here is a float, so it means this here goes here. And I can save my work. I can run my code. And when I run, you can see it's asking me enter ticket prices for seat A. Seat A is 12. Seat B is supposed to be taking its information, but it just ran through my code just like that. So let's find out why it did that. Oh, why did it skip through? What did I do wrong? So over here, instead of me using the percentage sign, I use the dollar sign. So let me correct that. Let me run my code again. I can clear screen. So CLS will clear my screen. I run it again. Seat A seats are 12, seat B seats are 10, and then seats are 5. And then here I have this amount here. Obviously, if I would want to make it so that over here I have a lot of decimal points behind, but I just want 2 decimal points behind. So here, when I do the percentage sign for the display, I'll put a 2 and a dot here so that now when I run my code, it will come in that format. In front here, I'll put GHC here so that I know I have Ghana CD. And when I run my code again, I can put 12 here, 10 here, and 5 here, and then it tells me that the decimal points are gone. They are 0, so they don't have to be there. Oh, sorry. Let me bring it back down here. Obviously, it rerun the other code because I forgot to save. So let me run it one last time. So here I'll have 12, 10, and 5. And then it gives me the right Ghana CD, the decimal points go away, and they are controlled, and everything looks good. So this presents you with the code. So you have the code like this. Variables on the top. Here I have my display and receives, so my inputs. And then over here, I have my process. And over here, I have my output. Well structured. And if you are very observant, you realize that most of the applications I gave you in class to do, it follows the same format. Ask for information, calculate your information, display the information. Let's have another question. A question in which I also sent you people to do. And that question has to do with this. Write a C program to convert temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay? From Celsius to Fahrenheit. Or from, yeah, from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is the formula which is giving you the Fahrenheit is equal to this times that over that plus 25. So you would ask the person what temperature it is in Celsius, and then you get the answer of it in Fahrenheit. Very, very simple. So again, what do they want us to do? What is the problem? The problem is they want us to write a program to convert the temperature Celsius to Fahrenheit. Full stop. What inputs do I need? So again, I'll watch the question. Here, my answer is F. So I don't need F. I don't need 9 over 5. I know it's 9 over 5. I don't need 3 over 2. 32. I don't need it. What I do need is C. That means I would have to ask the user for what? C. The user has to input the value for C. Okay. At the end of my program, what is going to be my output? What is going to be my deliverable? What is going to be what the user is looking for? The user is looking for as my output F. How do I get from C to F? So those are my processes. To get there, I require this formula. So now I can write my code. Now I can write my code. So let me write my code then. I'll wipe everything off here. And in here, I'll start my code. Temperature are decimals. So I can't use int. I need to use what? Float. So I'll use C for Celsius and F for Fahrenheit. I'll tell the user to enter, to print F into bracket, enter the temperature for Celsius. You can see that every time I write something for the user, I make sure I use a capital letter. I make sure it is well structured because everything that is inside the double quotes, the user will see. So the spelling must be correct, the look must be correct, the display must be correct. I'll use scanf, and again, I'm taking in information which is a float. So I'll use percentage sign F, and here I want to put the float in N sign C. Then I can now say F is equal to, and I already have the formula over here, so I will cheat a bit and put it there. But for me, the values I used were all small letters, so I have to make mine small letters. And then over here, I would say display, where I would use the print F again. In here, double quote, temperature, temperature in Fahrenheit. Then over here, I'll put the percentage sign. I'll put the dot here. I'll bring the 2F here. And then I'll bring the F here. And then I'll bring the slash N here so that you know this is Fahrenheit. There's no need for. I wanted to bring the degree Fahrenheit there, but it's okay. Then I'll bring the slash H there. Close it off with a semicolon. Eh, Save my work by pressing Control S. Then I'll run my code. What is the temperature in Celsius? I'll put 12 there. And then when I enter, it gives me 0 Fahrenheit. Let me put C here and enter. Oh, sorry, CLS. So for me to clear the screen. Check, make sure everything in which I have here is correct. So I have C here. This 12 is not supposed to be there. I'll save my work again. I'll run my code again. I should put my temperature in Celsius. I put 120, and it is still telling me that my Celsius value is what? 0. So let's figure out why it is still telling me the value here is 0. What have I done wrong that makes the value 0? So what makes my value there 0? What have I done? I told the computer display everything and this is the format, but I didn't tell it what to put over here. So here I have to bring the comma here. I have to give a space and put F there. But the computer knows that over here it is supposed to put this value in this section here. Let me run my code again. Did I make a mistake somewhere? I made a mistake somewhere. The percentage sign token is 2 before. Let me do this first. So save. CLS to clear the screen. Run it. Here I have 120. And it tells me this is my Fahrenheit value. Perfect. Over here, I want to remove the decimals a bit. So let me save it up. Let me make this one run again. I have no errors. And then in here, I'll put in, let's say 150. Now press, and it tells me it is 49.2 that. So everything is working perfect. Everything is working. All my code is perfect. So another one in which I sent you in class is finding the area of an application. Finding the area. So here, I come in here. I remove this. This is the question. What is my problem? Is to calculate, or a program to calculate area. Now, for me to calculate area, what do I need? I need to know the radius of the thing. So R. What is the output I would get for my application? What information will I get as my output? Okay, so over here, I need radius. What is the output of my program? The output of my program. Oh, sorry, let's calculate area. The output of my program is area. So now I must write the code for this. So I have area is equal to pi, which is 3.1.124 times here's supposed to be 142, and then times radius times radius. So the radius is being times twice. So let me write the code for this. So in here, I'll just make some changes to this, where this is only going to be R. It's only going to be R. I don't need this anymore. Over here, I'm accepting the information and putting it in R. Here, I'll tell the user to enter radius. And then over here, I'm calculating for, oh, sorry, here I have to bring a comma here and type in area. That means here, area is now equal to 3.142 times the radius times the radius. That means here, I'll say the area is, and here would be area. Now, if you are a very observant person, the reason why I went through the code and replaced the values is because I want you to see that the formats are the same. We would ask for information, we will calculate the information, we will display the information. So the questions are all the same. Of course, the things you will do in the middle are all different. Some of them you take three things, some of them you take five things, some of them you take six things, some of them you take seven things. But at the end of the day, within the middle of the application, what you will do are all the same. They are all equal. There is no difference between them. Another thing I've realized with some of you who submit questions to me is that you go online and use ChatGPT and then you send it to me. First of all, if you are using an AI, don't send it to me. Don't waste my time. Okay? Because some of your solutions, I can see you are using chat. You are using things in which we didn't do in class. So you can see the minute points in which you use chat in there. Again, I told you this in class. You using chat is not the problem. The fact that when you have to produce it in the exam setting or in the setting under pressure, and you cannot do that because you didn't go through the pain of learning it yourself, that is the problem. Do not be deceived. You are not deceiving anyone. You are not showing a higher level of intelligence or smartness. You are just making yourself weak. Learn the thing and use the chat as a tool in the future when you have to implement something, then you know what you're even asking the chat to do and you know how to configure it yourself. Please, let's not be naive in thinking we are outsmarting anybody. We are not.